Alright, what's up guys? I'm here with my personal Smash 4 Bootcamp recap. Now, one of the things about this event is it wasn't as serious, per se, as other events because one, invitational again, which could make it higher stakes. However, two, it didn't count for PGR. Because of that, not every player might have had the intention of playing to win instead of playing to just see how they can stack up against other people, play to have fun, not even focus on playing, so on and so forth. So this event was in Vegas at the Downtown Grand. Thank them for hosting us. I thank them for hosting us. And one thing about Vegas is it's really good when you're 21. And you know what I was? I'm 21. And as you all know, I got sick. So I didn't get to enjoy Vegas as much as I would have thought. I actually didn't get to enjoy anything because I had to spend a lot of time focusing on myself so I could feel better either for singles or after I left the event. Now, going into the event, there was a bunch of really cool side events that I personally was interested in. I was gonna do doubles with Cosmos, and I thought that would have been really fun. Even though we teamed once before, we didn't do amazing, but something about this time just felt right. And I didn't get to play because I was so sick. I had like flu-like symptoms, so my body was very fatigued. Getting out of bed was hard. And instead, Pink played in my place. Thank you so much, Pink. But they didn't do too well, sadly. After that, I think my singles pool was on the same day as doubles, so I'll touch up on that before I go into other side events. The way the pools worked was it was round robin, and the first seed of each pool, the four first seeds being Leo, Salem, Nairo, and Zero. So those four first seeds picked who they wanted to be in their pool. That player picked the next person, and that player picked the next person. So all of the pools were essentially handpicked, which I thought was pretty cool. And so it's round robin, every game matters. And again, this ended up in me being in a tiebreaker scenario with Larry and Zero. This happened because I beat MBD 2-0, which is always pretty scary. He bodied me in the Iron Man yesterday, and I know that's not as evident towards singles. I was like, damn, MVD's playing on point, and I'm sick, so I probably can't do this. Though, I think I just got killed when it mattered. I didn't have to deal with Rage Diddy as much as I could have, so I think that helped me out. I had to play Larry next. I ended up winning 2-1. I banned FD after winning game 1 on Lilat because I don't want to fight DK on FD. I feel like I'd rather just fight Fox on Battlefield. It's just easier on the mind. So he kind of bodied me on Battlefield, if I'm not mistaken. And then game 3 was really competitive. Though winning against Larry there really helped me out into the tiebreaker scenario because after the Larry, I played Zero. Zero thought the set didn't mean anything. I told him, you're wrong. If you beat me, you can still make it out first. I won game 1, and it looked really promising. I was like, yo, I can finally beat Zero. I can finally do it. But then he 2-stocked me game 2, and game 3, I was so close to getting the gimps that I needed. But I was like pixels off each time. So, unlucky. I don't get to beat Zero this year, even if it's just like a best of 3 in pools. But I have a whole nother year coming up. And because of that, since I 2-0'd MVD and Zero dropped the game to everybody, myself and Larry ended up making it out in winners. Zero made it out in losers, MVD made it out in losers. The side events that I did participate in, one of them I touched up on was the Iron Man, but my Iron Man just got completely bodied by MVD. It's like I didn't really play in the event. I used Sheik Fox, Mewtwo, Zero Suit, and Roy. And I think the only person I used that really took a stock was Sheik and Zorosuit. My Zorosuit surprisingly beat his D. I don't know how that happened. My Zorosuit was playing well all weekend, so I guess that's a plus. The other side event that I got to play in that wasn't Connect 4 was Quads. Quads was a 4v4 format where each team gets 2 bans, totaling up to 4 bans, and you cannot use duplicate characters on either team. I thought the format was really cool, but I didn't do too well. It seemed like the team that I picked, which was myself, Cosmos, Tweak, and DeBuzz, we didn't have quad synergy. But that event seemed really promising. I think they should try running it more. I think it's something that people could begin to enjoy watching. Though we already have doubles, so it's hard to have another side event, you know? Unless that side event is Connect 4. The way they ran Connect 4 at bootcamp was each player has 2 blockers that you can use either before or after your turn. And this really changed the meta. I feel like people weren't too familiar with blockers. I decided to use my blockers a lot more offensively because it could make you set up a lot more traps by preemptively setting up the traps. Like if somebody has 2 connected on an elevated, like 2 connected on the second row, you have to use a blocker to block it. Or if they use their blocker and end up connecting 3, even though it's in the second row, they can just use their other blocker and connect 4 on either side. So if you didn't block people preemptively, you lost. And I feel like that's something a lot of people didn't understand, which was probably why I won the tournament pretty free. Like, you had to have seen where either their connect 3s or just like their potential getting 2 or 3 ways to win. You had to see it before it happens, or it's too late because you can't stop it. Overall though, I thought Connect 4 was really fun. Though I used to play it a lot in middle school, so maybe that's why I just try hard in my way to the top. But we got money! So lastly, going into the bracket, I had to fight only characters that could kill me at absurdly low percents. Like out of all the characters, my first match was Mars. Mars beat me twice this season. I don't think I had a win on him this season. And it was pretty scary going into it. I'm like, well, this was a bad roll. Low chance I'll win, but let's see what happens. Game 1, Lilat. You can still get ladder comboed, but due to the tilts and Sheik's crouch, it makes it really hard for Zorosuit to grab Sheik on that stage. So I kind of just tried to abuse that as much as I could. Game 2, if I'm not mistaken, it was Dreamland, and he just bopped me. It was tough. Fighting Zorosuit on any of her counter picks is tough. Not much you can do there. Game 3, he banned Smashville because when we played at GTX, I think I beat him in like 30 seconds on Smashville. It wasn't nice. So we went to FD, again crouching. It just helped me not to get raged as much as I could have. Game 4, I think we went back to Lilat, and the same things apply to what I said about Game 1. So I ended up winning, even though I was like still very, very sick. I'm like, yo, I won. That means I get tied in a rest going into my next set against either Tweak or Salem. Salem won Game 5, so I'm like, okay, I haven't beat this guy this season either. And he just 3-0'd me at Championship Saga. If you guys saw the last video, you guys know how devastated I was. I was still hurt. It's only been a week. I ain't healed. But talked with Korean, talked with Larry. I'm like, alright, so we have to find out how to beat Nair. If I can beat Nair, I can win. And as soon as the match started, I'm like, alright, he's Nairing, how do I beat Nair? The general ideas we came up with actually ended up working. That and just like, I have to take my time, because if you don't take your time versus that move, you just get hit into hit confirms, or he just lands on top of you and uses very strong burst options. So it's worth it to just take the little bit of chip damage that it does to actually formulate a plan and find out counter actions to the way he's playing. So I just had to make sure I was playing on point in the late game, which involves just like either of us killing each other. Play on point in the late game, SDI properly, and just don't die to witch time. I feel like those were the 3 key things that helped me end up going on top versus Salem, which I'm glad I got a win over him. PGR or not, I'm just glad Sheik beat him. Yo, mid-tier heroes unite. Let's go. And then I had to face the god, the final boss of the Rage Killers, which was Nairo Quesadilla himself. And we all love a Void versus Nairo set. Everyone but me, apparently. Except this set. I think this set was one of the best sets I've ever played. While I was playing it, I don't know. It felt like it was a really good set. And no outcome would make me like unhappy about the way that set went. So the only real things to touch up on here, the differences between Nairo and Mars. Nairo prefers FD in the matchup. I don't know why, but he's really good on it, so that's probably why. But Mars will prefer Lilat, Nairo prefers FD. So game 1 we go to FD. Pretty sure it's really close, but I end up winning. Game 2 we go to Dreamland and I just body him. I don't know what happened. I actually don't remember what happened. But games 3, 4, 5 we go to FD. Game 3 was really close. Game 4 I got voided. I got voided at like 18. It was tough. It was tough to deal with in the moment. Not really. It really didn't bother me. I felt like I was just so into the game that dying at 18 wasn't like a priority. Or it wasn't a priority for my mind to focus on. It was like, hey, you died at 18. Now how you gonna win in game 5, you know? And game 5, yo, Nairo played so smart. I tried to kill him so many times. Like, so many times. And he showed really good knowledge about how Sheik could kill. And at the end of the day, he got a grab. He got a grab at essentially last stock, last hit scenario. It was very good. Like, mad props. So after that, I already knew I couldn't play anymore. Being sick and playing at a high level, it takes too much energy. And the same thing happened to me at Zero Saga last year, where I used all of my energy, and going into losers finals, I just couldn't play anymore. So I had to fight Salem again in losers finals. And like, even as the set's going on, I can tell, like, hey, you can't focus, you can't execute properly, this is probably a wrap, but you gotta try. And try I did, and get 3-0'd I did. But I think it was a good ending to the season. Outside of the tournament, I feel like the staff really helped like take care of the players. Maybe I have a little biased perception because I was sick. So the staff was kind of like, hey, the only thing we can do for you is help take care of you. So that's kind of all that I got, like, for majority of the event. However, they provided food for us, they provided drinks for us, they provided rooms for us. Everything was provided. The only things we had to bring was ourselves, some clothes, and some personality, which a lot of players didn't really get to show this time around. I feel like a lot of players focused a lot more on just spending time there, per se. Like, this event was shown for a lot of people to know more about their players, and I feel like it did help for some of the players, but not every player really got to have their time to shine, whether it be on the mic or just like playing wise. So if I'm not mistaken, the secondary stream wasn't really up for the first few days, so people didn't really get to see all the friendlies that they could have, and a lot of people were focusing a lot on like the friendlies. Like, we all wanted to get better. It's the last grind of the season. So I feel like the event could have went better in terms of showing the players more, but we can't blame the event for that. The players had a lot of opportunities to show who they are, whether that's via werewolf, via hanging out behind the commentators, or behind the players, or actually hopping on the mic. There are a lot of things that the players could have done, and I hope that the players that did do it did a well enough job for the community to be like, hey, I know more about this player, so my opinion is this, instead of, oh, this player plays this character, so I don't like him, or this player does this on Twitter, so I don't like him. There's a lot more about players that can contribute to your opinions about them, and I feel like that's what the bootcamp tried to prove. So I think they succeeded in that regard, except me being missing for most of the event because I'm just dying in my hotel room. But for the most part, I really, really enjoyed bootcamp. I hope Downtown Grand and VG Bootcamp end up doing another one. If they don't, I completely understand, but I'm 100% trying to get myself into the next invitational. Sick or not, I'll still be a beast. I'll still be a beast. Oh my god, my voice cracked twice. I'll still be a beast. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next time.